Good afternoon and welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, live on 100.2 FM through the capital city, Nandilo Toka, but on, later delayed coverage on FBC TV. And a very good evening to our viewers. Now, welcome to the show this afternoon, the General Manager of Customer Services at the Water Authority of Fiji. Welcome to the show, Ms. Fane Valve.
Bola Pedeli and Bola listeners.
Now, it's a crucial time at this very moment for our country. We're going through a dry spell, and Water Authority of Fiji right at the forefront of this. A lot of our listeners have also been calling up with regards to how and what the services are that are provided for them for Water Authority of Fiji. Now, in a nutshell, can you just describe to us just the work that Water Authority of Fiji is doing at this time to meet the needs of Fijians?
I think at the onset, I just want to reassure the public that Water Authority is totally committed to riding out this this drought that we're all facing together. And at particularly at this point in time, I think for our listeners or our customers in Suva, particularly those between the Ndelenavesi to the Tongalevu Naval Base, we have water rationing. Now, that's never happened before, but that's happened because there's just not enough water to go around. And I think that's been going on now for some time, and we've been able to actually ration the water between these two areas so that at least there is some sort of regularity. The customers know, okay, we're going to have water at this time, we're not going to have water at that time. It's easier to manage their lives around as opposed to it being. And it's taken us some time to get there, because when we first tried to start the rationing, the reservoir levels dropped quite significantly by 20 megaliters. Now, what that means is, apart from water, there are a lot of other variables which come into play when we talk about water. You have to get the pressure to a certain level. Mm-hmm. And as we know, in the Ndelenavesi and Lami areas, there are some customers on the hill.
Elevated,
yes. And when the water was, when we first started to ration, we couldn't get it beyond BMS, and that was just, the pressure was just building. We had to build the pressure. So then our engineers finally told us that, the best way to do it, to build pressure, was just to ration. And then that's what we've been doing for the last week.
Now, obviously, these areas that you speak of are to expect water rationing to carry on for some time.
Yes, that's correct, Pedeli. This will continue for some time. We hope that we're reviewing the situation daily. Our normal reservoir levels to cater for everyone has to sit at around 60 megaliters. When the drought started happening, our levels dropped to 48. But what we've had to do as a team, apart from dealing with our customers, is we've brought in an extra generator, extra pumps, so that we can pump more water and store it. Because water is actually from our catchment areas where we capture the water. It then has to be pumped up to the water treatment.
That's right.
Where it gets treated, it goes to the reservoir, and then it goes to our customers.
So it's quite a bit of work before it even comes.
There's a process. That's right. There is a process.
And I think for many, the simplification of just getting water into their taps, they do not, quite often many have overlooked the different processes that it takes to just get water to their taps.
That's correct. And perhaps on the part of the authority, that's an area that we need to perhaps increase our awareness on, so people can appreciate the process. In terms of educating our customers on the actual what happens. It's raining. Why don't I have water?
Exactly.
It's like we don't supply you rainwater.
To be very honest, as soon as it rains, we often get callers on radio shows on all 6 stations of the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation saying exactly what you just said. Yes. It's raining. What is Water Authority of Fiji doing?
Yes.
Why am I not getting water or the proper supply that I should have?
That's right. And it's normal. For most customers, it's raining. I don't understand why we don't have water. Well, it comes from the catchment area. It's pumped to be treated. The water treatment process happens, and then it's stored in reservoirs, and then it's distributed to the distribution system. Now, for Suva, for example, up in Headworks to the actual treatment plant, that would be maybe about 20 kilometers of pipe.
That's quite a distance.
That's quite 20 to 30 kilometers of pipe. Now, you have to keep in mind, I think earlier this year we showed that there was a big burst in the main trunk.
That's right.
Now, if the pipes break, then water, obviously, there's a disruption. So that had to be fixed. That was a scenario early on in the year. But so what happens is it goes to the reservoir, it goes through, to the treatment plant. The water is treated, it's purified of bacteria so that it's safe for drinking and meets WHO standards. And then it's distributed, taken to the reservoir, stored, and then taken from the pipes from the reservoir to your house. So in essence, you might be living in Tongalevu, and the distance between Tongalevu to Suva, that's about, 45 kilometers? So that's 45 kilometers of pipe and another 30 kilometers after the catchment area. That's 75 kilometers of pipe. Anything can happen in between there.
Okay. What assurances are there to prevent these bursting of these pipes that Water Authority can give at this time?
Well, we don't have to worry about that right now. It does happen. When pipes do burst, that's when you have unplanned disruptions. And usually, as all of us do, you want to be notified when there are going to be disruptions. Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't know when the pipes are going to burst. It's like asking somebody...
when is it going to rain?
Yeah, when is it going to rain, or predicting a heart attack, so to speak. But we're doing everything that we can right now, and we're totally committed. I want to reassure the public that our teams are working around the clock. We have water cutting also that's going on at the same time. We've brought in trucks for the Suva situation. We have about 120,000 liters of water on the road at any one point in time. It's not only Suva. We have water cutting going on in the north as well, as you know. In the north, they've been really badly hit as well. And also in Ovalau, in Levuka, we also have water cutting there. And we're managing the situation as best as we can. And I urge the public, if you do have any water problems, you want to report a leak, call in to our call center. Now, there are a lot of people who call directly to mobile numbers at Water Authority. I keep reassuring and telling the public to go directly to the call center so we can log it and monitor it through till it's resolved.
On that note, we'll take a short break right here on Speak Your Mind. Stay with us. If you wish to contribute, please do so by calling us on 3220906, 3220907, or sending us an email at goldfm@fbc.com.fj. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, and we continue our discussion with the General Manager for Customer Services, Water Authority of Fiji, Mrs. Fane Vave. Now, Fane, just before we went to the break, we were talking about the difficulties and the processes of which Water Authority carries to get water to our taps, and also at this time, the specific pressure that Water Authority is also feeling, especially with the dry spell. We cannot predict these things. Yeah? As you explained, we cannot even predict burst main pipes, but Water Authority, as you've just said, assuring the all Fijians that you do the best that you can at that time. We've just received a text with regards to discussion. Water Authorities, officials are working on a 3-inch key. It just says a 3-inch key. I'm assuming you would know what they would mean, but they feel that there's 10 people attending to this, and often you must get this at your customer service calls. I'm sure about why does it take so many people to tend to something.
Again, I need to qualify. I'm not an engineer, but it's with depending on the size. In this case, it's a 3-inch. Apart from the team that's repairing, you have teams that are transporting the hired plant.
That's right.
There's checking, there's OHS. You might have our HR team who's there making sure that, it's clear for working. So it should be, it's justifiable. But if there are valid concerns, again, you can always call into our call center and even text, just as they do to FBC on 5777. We also receive text messages.
Just for our listeners' sake,
Sure.
Can you please repeat the call center numbers? Many of whom who still, I know it's in our water bill, but we tend to look past the call center numbers.
If you're calling from a landline, the number that you can call is 3346 777, And if you're a Vodafone or Ink user, you can call in on 5777.
All right.
Yes.
Hope you get those numbers. Now, Fanny, earlier this week, in fact, just on Monday morning, I received a call from Taviuni on the breakfast show, and a concerned person in Mate was a little bit concerned about what type of you speak of water cutting in Suva. What of those in the islands in Taviuni, so to speak?
We're also doing water cutting in Taviuni right now, Pedeli. Just at a glance, I can see that the areas that are being serviced, we have a total of about 594 metered customers in Taviuni. Mate, that's about 200 metered customers. And we have trucks which are servicing South Taviuni and for the Naselesele areas as well, including Mate.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how much more, how difficult has it been, or do you have enough support or enough Water Authority of Fiji or personnel to cover these areas, especially in islands like also of Palau? The concern is, can you continue to meet the needs of our customers?
We will continue. I think it's not a question of can. We will. We will continue. The challenges we have is like in the case of Ovalau, we had to actually hire the tanks, hire the truck, and send it from Suva to the islands. We have resource constraints, as we all know, in some of these islands. So a lot of our trucks that are going out to the islands are actually being hired here from Suva.
So they're actually coming in from Suva to head off to these islands.
Yes.
So perhaps this also answers the time factor.
Yes. Also, I think in Taviuni, because the southern Taviuni side, the access is quite, the terrain is quite difficult when you talk about, because when you talk about water cutting trucks, you're talking about about 5,000, a minimum of 5,000 liters of water. The volume of water, there's a science, and the vehicle, there's safety issues. So, yeah, it's not as simple as we all think it is.
Well, I'm going to take you a little bit further, just on general terms.
Sure.
With customer service and the complaints that you receive, I'm sure you receive complaints also about water bills at this time.
Oh, yes. We definitely, I guess, we bill every 3 months. So if you get your bill today, that would be your bill for the last 3 months. Now, as the public is aware, the authority has tried to start replacing meters. Mm-hmm. Because the meters which we've had have been aged, which means they're more than 15, some 20, 25 years, and they've been under reading.
Okay.
Yes. So when we replace the meters are actually now going to show your actual real consumption.
So you are to expect, well, a customer like me, yes. I am to expect, after Water Authority has gone through the checks and put in the right meter,
yes,
I will expect, if mine had been under reading, I would now expect a little bit of a hike?
Yes. In terms of, there used to be lots of complaints about estimated meters.
That's right.
Now, that estimation used to be done based on an average of 6 to 12 months. So, most people are used to getting, at the end of every quarter, a bill like $10.80.
Okay.
Right? So that's just an estimate.
Yeah.
Now, you might get a bill for the first time for your first 3 months after, and it might look $180. $200.
But this is because it's giving you the actual reading.
And I think as we move towards the drought, it will force people to think about how they use water.
Right.
And I've actually been caught on that too. My first water bill was $260. And I thought, wow, I fixed a little bit of leaks. And then my next bill was $120. And I thought, this is still too high. When I finally fixed my hot water system, my next bill was $10. Okay. So I'm a customer as well who knows that, if you don't fix your leaks, and sometimes these leaks, you can't even see them. Yeah. They might be under your driveway if you have a cement driveway coming up to your house and there's a leaking pipe. But because we measure all the water after the meter that comes up to you, and if the houses are old, it all depends on the plumbing.
Okay.
Plumbing works.
So does Water Authority of Fiji provide a service where we can have this checked?
Yes, we do.
All right. And how do we go about obtaining these services, and how do we go about identifying that we have a problem?
Well, if you've seen a spike in your bill and you have a query, you can always email us at contact@waf.com.fj and email us the details. If you want a check, a leak check, whatever it is, we'll have to schedule it in because a year ago we purchased really state-of-the-art equipment that detects leaks. Now, what happens with that is we can only do the leak detection after hours.
Okay.
So it's usually after 10 p.m. What will happen is we will advise the customer, okay, we'll come in on this date, we've given this slot, and we'll do a test around your compound to hear the leaks and spot if there is a major leak under the house. And we've had it in the past. We had a customer once who had a major leak at a major commercial hotel, and the leak was underneath their car park, a cemented car park.
Okay. Now, just getting interesting, but we'll have to take a short break
Sure.
right here. We'll get back to this discussion with Water Authority of Fiji on Speak Your Mind right here on Gold FM. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind. We're speaking with the General Manager for Customer Services, Mrs. Fani Vave. Now, just before the break, we were talking about identifying water leaks in the compound or within your boundary or for your property, and also the services that are provided by Water Authority of Fiji. Many may not know this, but as you've said, that some may have queries with billing, and that perchance would also help lead to checks within the property. Yes. Now, it's often that you receive the complaint. Not too many ask after the check for water leaks, but it's very easy to say that there's something wrong with their billing. Yes?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, do you often, from customer service point of view, do you give this advice out freely, or is it also available for the public to know about having these checks done?
We do the checks usually as soon as customers log a complaint because they usually it's usually logged as a dispute, a billing dispute. So we go out and verify, and usually you'll have a team assigned that will come and check and show you. Most of the times the teams will come and turn off your meter and just see if the meter still keeps moving when the tap's closed.
Oh, that's
and that's
right.
evidence that there's a leak.
Hence, you need to have it done after hours.
Yes.
Okay. Now, another question. How long does it all take, the whole process of this? Is it depending on the size of the property, or?
Yeah, it all depends on the size of the property and the availability of as well as our team, which is why as soon as a billing dispute is logged and you want to do a leak detection, we actually have to roster it on. So, okay, Mrs. XYZ, okay, next Thursday at 10 p.m. we advise the customer, and then it's done, but it's tracked. And that's why it's very important when customers call in that they call the call center. Please, when you call in, do not put down the phone until you get a log number, because that means it's officially been logged on the system and it's being tracked.
All right. So it's not enough that you just lodge a complaint, get that log number.
It's, excuse me, can you give me my log number, please, or my service number, whatever you want to call it.
That's very important, because quite often a lot of customers do not get that log number then leave frustrated.
Yes. Yeah? I've seen it myself. I've sat at the call center at some times to hear frustrated customers. And so I've called, and most of the time some customers just call up, they just yell and they put down the phone. And that's fine. But the thing is, if we can't give you a log number, you might call 6 times, but you haven't got a number because you put
don't have
down the
anything
phone.
to reference to.
And it holds our teams accountable as well. It holds us accountable. This was logged. It's been given to a team. And we monitor this internally. We monitor 24 hours. Everything has to be done in 24 hours. If not, we monitor it over a 72-hour period, and then it gets flagged. Why wasn't this done? So if it doesn't get logged on the system, we can't monitor that.
So hear this now. Get your log number, because they are accountable to it.
Yes.
Now, how efficient is this process? As general manager, how efficient is this process? Getting the checks, getting it done.
It's efficient. We've tried to, as an organization, we've also, in driving for service excellence and putting our customer first, we've actually reorganized ourselves as a team now. And you'd see that even in Suva, our response time has improved quite significantly compared to the same period last year. Previously, where complaints were just logged and it's assigned to a base, now we've actually assigned teams to specific areas. So, for example, we've got a specific team in Samambula. So if you log a complaint from Samambula and it's not attended to, we can actually go down and check with the managers and the supervisors, okay, who was supposed to fix this at that time and why didn't they do it?
Okay.
And that's the level that the Water Authority is lifting its game to. And we're going to start in the West in mid-October as well. And it's all about delivering service excellence. It's all about, meeting our customers' needs. It's about turning around. I know that in the past, people usually say, oh, I'm tired. I'm not even going to log it anymore.
That's right.
I want to reassure the public that we're committed. We're really committed to improve our services. And we're committed to monitor and see it through and bring out efficiency.
You say that you've going to be tending to the West soon.
Yes.
So the system is in place for the Central Division?
The new system.
The new system?
Yes. And we're about to, we are doing it also in the West. Don't get me wrong. It's just, what we're doing is it's a broader, it's almost like previously you were allocating it to Suva or Nasinu. Now we actually, within Nasinu, there might be another 10 suburbs, so to speak,
That's
and
right.
there are 10 teams. So they will service. We know exactly which teams are supposed to be servicing, so no one can miss the bullet anymore.
So does that take away anything from the service time that is required for those in the North, per se? Or is the North also being treated?
That's all
being
in
given?
the same, yes.
Okay.
Because the central control is actually here in Suva, our call center is in Suva, and then it's distributed. As soon as it's logged, it's distributed to the team.
Okay.
Yes.
So 24 hours that is expected of response from here in Suva is also applicable
Across.
to all of
It's
those
Fiji-wide.
divisions.
Absolutely.
All right. If you have questions, please do call up 3220906, 3220907. Flick us an email at goldfm@mbc.com.fj. We're speaking about water woes. Water Authority of Fiji representative, in fact, the General Manager of Customer Service, Fani Vave, is here in studio with us. Now, Fani, another question that,
Sure.
some of the complaints that we also receive, and I'm sure you're familiar with, are water meters.
Yes.
The specific Water Authority of Fiji meters that are in your property. One section belongs to the property owner and the other to Water Authority of Fiji.
Right.
Now, when problems are for the property owner, they tend to it. What of that belongs to Water Authority of Fiji? Often we hear of problems that it takes such a long time for WAF to come and tend to these issues.
That's all part of the step efficiencies that we're trying to bring about. And as I can say, is just call it in, email it in, text it in, so that we can log it and get it attended to. And we're really serious about getting it done and getting it done on time. And our team knows the expectations that rides on us to deliver this. There may be times where there are delays, and it will be justified. And in times when it's not, we take the necessary internal measures to get that done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what of those who sometimes, they take water from, you may have heard of water stealing from
Yes.
different water meters. Is this a problem that is still a big problem for Water Authority to manage?
It is. It's an ongoing problem. I think last year was the first time somebody was actually convicted for water theft. And water theft is all about tapping off the main lines. There are some smart cookies out there that know the technical side of things, and no one is supposed to have. If you're having tap water and you don't have a meter, then you're in trouble. That's your first indication.
That's the first.
So the first thing I'd say is just check. Do you have a water meter or do you not have a water meter?
Okay.
Because that will be the first question we'd ask.
So really, regardless of who or how the circumstance became or you've come to,
Yes.
if you don't have your own water meter, then you are in the wrong.
Yes.
All right. On that note, we'll take another short break here on on Gold FM. Speak Your Mind. We're talking water woes with Water Authority of Fiji. Welcome back to Gold FM, Speak Your Mind, and once again, talking of the water woes, Water Authority of Fiji representative Fani Vave with us this afternoon, and let's talk about the 20-year master plan. Water Authority of Fiji launched this in July, and, the money that also involves, but what really, the work that has been done already. The first stage of this master plan, as the CEO of Water Authority of Fiji had said at the time of the launch, that $13 million already. And this is just in getting the right piping in water pipes, laying it and having it, the proper ones that we need in terms of getting clean water to your customers. Now, there's a bigger plan, and it's going to take 20 years, obviously. Now, let's just talk about this and what work is there still left to be done.
Okay, thank you, Pedeli. In terms of the plan, the 20-year plan, there's four major components of it, or four major focus areas. That's the Suva-Nosori corridor, which we all know is one of the fastest developing areas in the country. The Nandi-Lautoka corridor as well, which is also a fast developing area. Sigatoka and Lambasa. Those are the four key focus areas of the master plan. And I think perhaps at this point it's important to emphasize that our main focus right now is to make sure that those people who are within our reticulation system, or all our metered customers, receive water 24 hours, 7 days a week. Now, our challenge at the moment is that because of hydraulic challenges, some of our customers who have meters have not been receiving the 24 hours, 7 days a week water. Now, in the beginning of the year, we started off, there were 67 areas identified in Fiji who do not receive 24 hours of water. Now, these might be because they're at the end of the line. So our main focus is to first make sure that the customers who are within our reticulation system all receive water. Now, I'm happy to report that this year to date, we've resolved 34 of those 67 areas. They're now receiving water. In some places, they hadn't received water in 20 years. And thanks to government's assistance, we've been able to fix some of these issues. So it's been an ongoing issue. So when we look at the master plan, there are all different approaches. The first one is to make sure that all our customers within our existing reticulation system, our metered areas, all receive water. And then it's all about demand management, forecasting the population and making sure not only in terms of people, but also in terms of development. As you know, there are a lot of plans when you talk about housing developments, hotel developments, industries. Everyone needs water. So it's all about, do we have enough water? Very simple questions. Do we have enough water? If we don't have enough water, what do we do? And this is all highlighted within that plan.
Now, I'm going to say, I live in Nakasi, in Nasinu. This is one of the fastest growing areas in the Suva division, the Central Division. And we're constantly questioning this.
Yes.
And we wonder, how will Water Authority meet the growing demand from the population that has just exploded in this area?
Yeah, and I think it's good that people, that we all start thinking like that. I tend to ask, when I sit with my friends and family as well, do you ever wonder about where your water's coming from? Do you know how much it costs? Do you know that if our children and our grandchildren will have the water and enjoy the water supply that we do now? And I think at this point in time where we're having a drought, it's actually a good time for everyone to actually ponder and rethink about how they use water and where it comes from. Because in instances where it's beyond the authority and there are acts of gods like the drought that's starting, it really begs questions, because usually when there's just no water, everybody just looks at the authority and says, it's your fault. And there are instances where we need to step up our game, and we're working on it. But I think it's a partnership, and when we talk about as part of this demand management and being able to supply water, we're fixing leaks, we're replacing meters. As you had rightfully said, people are seeing large bills and it's scaring the daylights out of them. But it's going to force people to actually think about how they use water, the leaks, because when leaks happen, it's water down the drain. It's
wasted.
Yes, exactly. So, we encourage customers to call it in, text it in. So it's all about demand management and making sure that we are able to supply enough water to keep up with the growing demands.
What can we do? What can our normal Fijians do to help them save water, apart from just wasting it on, just turning on the taps and checking your leaks?
I think all of us, we all have a part to play on this. It's all about being water smart. Sometimes as we do, you turn on the tap full force I tend to do that in where I live, and the water comes spurting out. But as of late, I just turn it on just a little bit because I'm mindful that our friends on the other side of the hill in Lamindelanavesi, they don't have enough water. So, it's all about thinking about everybody else and making sure that everyone gets their fair share. I mean, you talk about, responsibilities. It's everyone's responsibility. Simple things like when you're brushing your teeth. Okay, turn off the tap. You don't know how much water you can save on that. Sweeping your driveway rather than hosing it down. Right.
Or just perhaps maybe using a bucket of water instead of taking your, water blasters down the driveway. Yeah,
that's right.
Well, these simple steps, are there steps or is Water Authority looking at ways of perhaps, maybe this is too far of a reach, but penalizing those or who comes under whose authority can that come under? Penalizing those who continuously commit these wastage of water.
I think that's with the ministry, but it has to be declared as by the state as before we can really put in any punitive measures. But I think the message is, let's not reach that stage. Let's all be sensible. Let's all think about our brothers and sisters who are without water and use water wisely, because we don't know if it's going to be there for us in the future. I mean, we'll do the best that we can.
That is true.
But there's a science as well in water and where we're extracting from.
Now, let's talk about the cost of water.
Right.
Yes, we get our water bills, but I'm talking about the actual cost of getting water to our taps. Now, how much does that cost for Water Authority of Fiji to provide?
If I were to make a relative comparison, to supply 1,000 liters of water, that costs us about $6.50 per 1,000 liters. Customers are only paying 0.15 cents. 15 cents.
I'm just going to hold you to that because we're just going to have to take a really short break, but we'll get right back into just how much water is to you and to Water Authority. Right here on Speak Your Mind on Gold FM. Gold FM, Speak Your Mind, right here live on radio and also broadcast again for television viewers later in the evenings on ABC TV. And feel free to also remember to call up 3220-906 and 3220-907 with your questions. We're speaking water woes and the water problem that we're currently facing in Fiji. And with us this afternoon, the General Manager for Customer Services, Water Authority of Fiji, Fane Vave. Now, just before we went to the break, I'm going to ask again the cost of getting water to our customers, or to Water Authority of Fiji's customers. Really, relatively, I ask for just a runabout figure on really how much. Because a lot of people take it for granted.
Absolutely.
Yeah? It's a basic right to have water, but how much does it cost?
Like I said before the break, if I were to just, apples to apples, the customer pays, because 1 unit on your bill, if customers are not aware, is not 1 liter. 1 unit is 1,000 liters of water. And that costs customers 15 cents. Now, for us to produce that 1,000 liters and give it to you, treat it and send it to you, it's $6.50. So
$6 to $6.50 for Water Authority of Fiji, but a customer
pays 15 cents.
That's a huge saving for the customer.
Yes, it is.
And a huge cost for Water Authority of Fiji.
That's right.
So, in the world, how do we rate how does Water Authority of Fiji rate as one of the water suppliers? How is obviously one of the cheapest?
In terms of the tariff rate, we're definitely perhaps one of the cheapest in the world. I was in Japan recently, and we compared tariff rates with 21 other countries. And they were just horrified when they heard that it was 15 cents. The next question was, how do you sustain your operations? I said, we're fortunate that we're fully subsidized by government and funded, and that's appreciated. But I think the question, to put back on the table and ask customers is what happens if we were to charge at cost and run,
That's right.
that
As how it is
in
in
other
other
places.
places.
Yes. So if you look at that relatively, that's a 4,000% discount for customers to pay for 15 cents. I mean, that's for residential customers. For commercial customers, they pay about 53 cents for 1,000 liters of water.
Okay. Still one of the cheapest though.
Still cheap. Yes.
How do we rate it regionally?
Regionally, I believe we're also one of the
One of
cheapest
the
as well. We're cheaper definitely than Cook Islands and Samoa, I believe.
Now, how much of this information do you provide the public? Because I am sure that there is, if this type of information was readily available for a lot more people to hear and see of, then maybe a little bit more of a deeper understanding. Is there perhaps like plans for Water Authority of Fiji, maybe this time more considered effort to really push the cost of just providing water to the public?
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps that's been one of our softer points. We haven't exactly marketed or sold ourselves very well. We tend to take we tend to just take everything in, and we haven't done such. It's an area we're trying to improve on in terms of awareness of the actual water treatment process,
Yes.
what happens, the cost of it. Why is it when the burst pipes are fixed that I don't get water immediately? There are these things called airlocks that happen in the system. Then you have people who call in and say, there's water just gushing out. That's actually when they flush the system. So you have to open all the pipes to bleed the pipes. Bleeding in technical terms means to just let the water flow out of the pipes to get rid of all the air. Because if air locks the system, even if the water's come on, water won't be able to push out. No.
Okay, so it's not Water Authority of Fiji wasting water.
No, we're actually clearing out our technical term they use, or they use bleeding the pipes. So sometimes we get calls when people say, there's a fire hydrant open, you're wasting water. And so they're actually bleeding. It won't happen for long. They're just letting out the air out of the system before they close it so the system can pressurize properly.
So this is a problem that is faced everywhere?
Yes, it's global.
It's global.
Yes.
It's not confined.
No, it's not unique to Fiji, not at all.
So there's no wasting water, folks, when you see that gushing out.
Yes.
Now, these are just some of perhaps areas that we really need to shed some light on too.
Yeah.
And now that is also obviously something that it's not a waste. What exactly is wastewater?
Okay, now wastewater, back before Water Authority was formed, it used to be referred to as sewage, right? So we've perhaps the term we now use is wastewater. So that's basically everything that comes out of your bathrooms, toilets. But also there's also a new component for the authority. It's called trade waste,
Right.
which is the waste discharge out of all the industries. So what happens with that is we look after your water and we also look after your wastewater. So when you flush your toilets and everything, it all comes back to us. We treat it, we process it until it's safe, and then we just let it go again.
When you say you treat it, let it go again, the question now is where's it going to, and what do you mean by treating? So that it is, and can it break down?
Yes, it's broken down so it's safe to a certain standard. And then there's the liquid component and then the solid component, which is reused. The sewer can also be used as manure when it's dried out on the drying beds. So as of lately, you would have also seen in the newspapers, we've been putting out ads about the new wastewater lines that have been put in Samambula, Nasese, and Monikau areas. So previously what that means is that customers who used to have sewer tanks in their houses, now they're all connected to go right down to our Kinoya treatment plant.
Okay. So this includes new areas of development?
Yes.
Newly development areas. What of those existing places where they haven't had this? Will they have
Yes,
sewage?
that's all part of, there's a wastewater component as well to the master plan that you had alluded to for the 20-year plan. And that will, estimated costs for doing that is about $196 million. So the master plan looks at both water and wastewater needs for all Fijians in our country.
All right. Well, that's obviously one of the part of the master plan for WAF. Now, is there anything else that Water Authority of Fiji that we haven't touched on generally that you'd like to, just before we round up our discussion?
No, I think I just want to reassure the public that, we're here to serve the people. We're committed and we're doing the best we can. And it's all about continuous improvements.
Yes.
We are re-engineering ourselves operationally to be able to lift the standard of service. And we're just committed, Pedeli. I think I just want to reassure the public that we are committed to provide services. And there are times where we don't meet your expectations, but I'm always telling the team there is always room for improvement. And that's why the accountability, when we talked about service numbers and making sure you get a log number so that we can follow it through and we're monitoring because we're committed to provide service excellence to the people of Fiji.
Thank you very much. General Manager for Customer Services, Water Authority of Fiji, Fane Vave. And Fane, if you could just one last time, the numbers again.
3346 777 for our landline, and for Ink and Vodafone users, that's 5777.
Thank you again, and thank you for joining us this afternoon on Gold FM Speak Your Mind.
Thank you, Pedeli.
And on that note, thank you very much for joining us, and be sure to tune in again next Tuesday right here on Gold FM Speak Your Mind.